beautiful. Thank you, Francisco. That's absolutely wonderful. I just heard that you're from Spain. Is that right? Because the sarabanda, it is your dance, yes. Yes. Do you know the history of sarabanda? No, it was the sarabanda is a very old dance. I'm not sure when it started, but you know, hundreds of years before this, and it became a very sexy, fast, sexy dance. So the church banned it for some time, and then when it came back, it was this slow dance in three. Yes, so no sex at all. No, but thank you. Gorgeous playing. Wow, fantastic bow control. You could see that. I'm sure we all appreciated that so much. Thinking the corrente, how you voiced so clearly what was the bass note for us to hear, and then the things, and the lightness, that sort of feather touch you have, which is gorgeous. I have to say, it's wonderful what you're doing. And the saraband as well, also lovely. And you can see, again, from the atmosphere in the room and of the listeners, you really got to us, so that's so well done. I wish we could hear you do chaconne also, but anyway, another day. You play chaconne, do you?
Yeah.
Yes, you do, good. Because I'm quite curious how you would approach the partita as a whole. Yeah, because as you know, there are four dances. Those who, I'm sure you know this, but there are four dances and then chaconne. There's the Allemande, he calls it, the opening piece. By Bach's time, Allemande has stopped being a dance. No one was dancing Allemandas by then. It's become more like a prelude piece. Then you have the corrente that you just played, the sarabanda you just played, and then the giga. Yeah. Sarabanda and giga just about danced. In fact, there's not much real dancing of this type still going on in Bach's time. People talk a lot about knowing how to dance these in order to play them. I question that. I'm not sure Bach is expecting us to think our steps through as we're playing this. Although having said that, I don't know if you were here earlier, I was talking about the down bow rule. No, I found a lot of your bowings were a little upside down, which you solved it musically, and that's in the end, that's the important thing. But you might find that going da-di-da-da-da-da-da-da is easy to do da-di-da-da-da-da-da. You did lots of lots of that. It was very deft, but you may find it sort of simpler in the long run. But also, the reason I'm thinking about that is that you do lovely things, but it's all a little bit the same. And I think you could find a bigger emotional range inside each dance, inside each phrase. I wonder if I can find a simple example of that, because that's quite a big thing to say to you after you've just played so beautifully. Here we go. The sarabanda. The second part. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I think you should do an upper note.
Okay.
Yeah, you did this. Yes, you. But yes, I think, yeah. And then, can't play it with one hand. Then a C major cadence. Tam, triam, tam, tam, triam, and that B flat is a magical thing, isn't it? And you know, I can tell from your sort of face as well as your violin playing that if I cover that, what do we expect? Okay, maybe tam, but then that one is like a sort of. And that's what I mean about sort of more range of colour. And what I was looking at where actually you're playing, and in bow terms, you're using sort of the end. You never really going close to your hand, and I think sometimes a bit of bite for the hand could be really useful. But also where you're using the fingerboard, lovely sul tasto idea, a little bit. I'm not saying you It was fine. Okay. It was really good.
Actually.
But I could do with a little bit of bridge. Okay. A little bit of bridge. You know, a little bit more playing with that that bow speed thing and grip to the bridge. Do you mind if you did that second part and see also when the big place comes, take your time. It went a little too quick maybe for your own expression. Yeah, just that part. Thank you. I'm wondering if you could have more of that. Yeah, give the cello. If I call that the cello part, you know what I mean? Give the cello a little more space of sound and time, so you're not too fast across. Yes, just a bit more. Thank you. Isn't that beautiful how he does that phrase? How you're doing? Are you using this edition, or you have? You use the Baronite. Shall I use? Let's use that because then it's familiar to you. Yeah. That's like you're really weeping in the throat. It was beautiful what you're doing, and what you I don't know if you think of it in this way, but I heard it in this way. You're in G minor. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you go.
Yes. And as you know, every dance goes to G minor in this, because a Bach suite and the good composers, the suites, they use keys in a very structural way. They don't just go somewhere arbitrarily. It's important. G minor is important. And then you play chaconne, G minor. It's there in the thing as an important part of the thing. So this G minor is important. What I'm interested in is, what color is G minor? And I don't want an answer, but we all think, what is it? Is it bright red? Is it dark brown? Whatever. You may not. You say it's a color. You might say it's the smell of an old fine wine. You might say it's the dust on the picture frame of an old master. Yeah, whatever your image is, it's not C major. Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about, is a little bigger sense for us of the range of what you're doing. So if that one. Triam dim poradiram si za da 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 vi. C major, B flat, A flat, F sharp, G. Weird notes. Yes. You know, if a student composer did that, oh come on, rubbish, can't do that. But Bach can do it. Yeah. And you put a comma here. I wouldn't do that because yeah, exactly. I wouldn't put. But anyway, there's never one answer. Yeah. And then you did that, and that bar, you took a long time, maybe too long. Yeah. Maybe you've. I was thinking this earlier with the previous players, which is cadences. I mentioned trills. If you think about Bach or any Baroque composer, there are cadences at the end of every phrase. Yeah? Now, this means there are millions of cadences. Now, I'm lucky, you're from Spain, but your English, I think, is absolutely pretty perfect. You've been, it's pretty damn perfect, which is great, because I can then put it in a speech, language terms, that the Baroque cadence is so commonplace and it's so regular. It's just like when I say something, you don't need me to end the sentence because you already know what I'm going to say. Yeah? You don't need me to end the sentence because you already know what I'm going to say. Yeah? You don't need to do this. Now, with Baroque music, very often the cadence is the point where we all rest as a listener. We actually stop listening just for a moment and mentally breathe, but we're interested, what's going to happen next? So, very beautiful. Now what's going to happen next? Yeah, a cadence is just something to get through. Think how many millions Bach wrote. Yeah. You could say it's the most boring thing. So don't milk cadences too much. I was thinking that also with Johan right at the beginning. The end of both the movements that Johan played have these very black ornamental things. Actually, he's just written. He's just sort of, as it were, putting the piece down. Yeah. Now then, just a thought. I mentioned earlier, I think you weren't here, that the strings had a name almost. I mean, they really had a name. And the coda of the saraband, this part, you could play without any E string at all. That your E string is now gone to sleep. You've done and it's the E string's gone to sleep. Yeah, and you can actually use choice of string is a sort of dramatic thing. In that place, I would earnestly suggest put the E string to bed. Don't use it. Yeah, because then we're going to use it a lot in the next dance. So that's actually choice of fingering. There were some also for Alex in his fugue that you could choose a simple fingering that goes dee da dee da da, or you could choose dee ga da ga da, string crossing in order to bring voice writing out. Or in Johan's fugue, choice of string and choice of fingering can be very powerful, and characterizing using that sense that I perhaps didn't make it very clear, because it's, as you hear it in my voice, it's perhaps even not clear enough in my mind, that it's not only about the string and the bass part, but it's about the character. That say you have a string quartet, I hope sometimes you do play quartets, because it's huge fun. You might have a cellist who's very rhythmic, and you might have a viola who's not. And you might have a second violinist who's very keen, but plays flat all the time. Yeah? And you might have a first violinist who's wonderful and uses a lot of vibrato. Imagine that. You can characterize the string. And, okay, you often, because the violin isn't the most genius instrument for fugues, let's face it, you can't sometimes carry the theme, that idea right through, but it gives you something to play with in the sense of drama and voicing, characterizing a voice so that we can understand it better. And Johan did it beautifully when I mentioned that bass part at the end. That was great because we really got it, what the cello was doing there. But that thing of voicing, and in the case of the coda, just to remind us, would you play the coda of the, where have I gone? That's the C major. No, we've gone this way. And the coda of the saraband, yes. Here we are. It's just that little bit. Yeah. Yes, I'll give you a part. Here we are. Yes, nice solution, yes. Yeah. Thank you. Now then, one sort of thought experiment you could do, which you might be able to use in performance if you want, if it feels good, is actually to think of the strings. Yeah. Actually, the strings having slightly different voices. Now, I don't say that's how you must do it, but I think when you're preparing the music, we nowadays, I'm going to make a huge generalization, and I've only met you like 10 minutes, is that we go to music school, we learn how to do it, we practice hard, we do a concert, and that's sort of job done, tick, well done, great job. Whereas maybe we should rethink what we're doing, which is practice, train to be a wonderful violinist and a wonderful musician. This is great. All the violinists we've heard today are doing a fantastic job at that very thing. But also practice being a creative performing musician in front of people. And that's a different thing. You see, I could work on this for 6 months and get it perfectly and bring it here and give it to you perfect. I'm so proud, yeah? Or I could get to know this, feel it, train, do etudes, get bow control perfect, or get the fingers really working, and then stand here and think, now, how shall I do this today, yeah? And those are two very different things, and I think it's something we should all work at. So, for example, beginning of saraband, I could do it. Okay. Yeah? Or I could begin. Yeah? Now, because Bach has given no information how to play it. He just says saraband, you do the rest. And it's especially with Baroque music, this sense that the composer and the performer are in a relationship which is much more equal than more modern music, where Bach has done his. If Bach did come in here, as I said earlier, I'd love it if he was here, because we'd all have questions for him, wouldn't we? And if we were to say to him, how should we do this? I honestly believe his answer would be, well, I know how I would do it, but I'm not doing it. You're the one doing it. I trust you, yeah? And I think it's a lot about the composer. They trust. They haven't marked dynamics. They haven't marked many expression marks. Even the slurs they've marked, we misunderstand most of them. We're misreading most of them, as far as I can see, because of the markings on the page. This is why the facsimile is so important, is because it's giving you an impression of the music rather than a forensic detail. The slur goes woof. I mentioned the slur earlier. Oh, I know. There's a beautiful slur here. That one. Have you looked at the facsimile of that slur? Just play us that bar, and this one I'm talking about. This slur. That one, lovely. And in fact, if you look at the facsimile, we've got it here. It goes. It's got this lovely wave to it. He's helping us. Now, I think that's important and useful. And it's not only me, but did you know, maybe violinists don't know this, I have met very few who know this. We use Bach's facsimile, but it sounds like some people could use it a bit more. But there's also a handwritten copy by Bach's second wife, Anna Magdalena. You know the cello suites survive in the copy of Anna Magdalena, so do the violin sonatas partitas. But no one's bothered to look at them, because we've got Johann Sebastian. Do look at them and you'll see she's tried to copy everything, including that little thing there. She's tried to copy everything. She's failed, because it's so difficult. She tries to put exactly the number of bars of measures on the same line. She tries to stay to the same lines and the same pages, and she fails. After about 6 pages, she gives up because it's so difficult. Really, try it yourself. You realize what a genius he is with his pen, let alone with his writing the notes. So there's loads of information in there. Now, but all the information he can give is only a fraction of the decisions you're making. The jig, or it could go any way. And the beautiful thing is, you don't even have to decide. I found the best decisions I made were not the ones I made in my practice room at home. They weren't even the ones I made sitting on the bus going to the concert. They were the ones I made when I sort of, oh, hello, I'm going to play Bach. Oh shit, oh Bach. And then the ones that happened just then. And I was very fortunate that I used to direct orchestras from the violin. And I was so lucky to play with some musicians who were really into this, that you didn't make the decision about how to play the chord until the moment before you play it. So let's say the Corelli Christmas Concerto, if ever any of you know that, it just begins, pom, tim, tam, tam, ta-dam, pam, ba. The whole orchestra just doing that. And we would sometimes decide, pom, 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 and sometimes we decide, but we never decided before. It was just, and that's why this, which I do use because it's useful, but think in Baroque classical times, this is a pencil, by the way. This was probably more expensive than a bow, and no musician could afford this. Bach didn't write in pencil. Pencils were for artists and architects. It was a specialized tool. Bach, they use ink, to compose. Musicians didn't have pencils, and they didn't write things in. They didn't put dynamics, they didn't put bowings, they didn't put fingerings. They left it to the moment, and that's what's so great about this. Having said that, I would earnestly suggest a thing. A violinist as good as you, and all our violinists today, why begin the saraband on an open D string when Bach has given a 4-note chord? 4, 4, 3. It's painful, it hurts, but it's what he's written. Okay. Yeah, and it's not that difficult. Okay. Yeah, so I would really do that. Then you start with a 4-note, your string quartet, and then the middle parts play the second, and then measure 2, 4 notes, and then 2. And this thing of go die ya, that's a bit cheap, isn't it? Yeah, it's lazy. I'm not saying you are lazy, but because I'm hearing all sorts of people doing that. This lazy thing about somehow we don't want to use that 4th finger playing 5ths. We should. That's what he'd be amazed. Oh, what's wrong with my, this good. Anyway, thank you. That's fantastic. Bravo. Yeah, I hope I can hear your chaconne one day.